Command Stack, Episode 10, the TTS Second Battle of Endor World Championships. Welcome to Command Stack, a podcast about Armada news and events. In today's episode, we will discuss the top 4 lists from the TTS Second Battle of Endor World Championships. Hello everyone, I'm Ken, along with the rest of the command staff, Ryan and Garrett. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Ken.
Hi everybody, I'm Garrett.
I'm Ryan.
And welcome to another episode of Command Stack. I think we're on our 10th episode now, guys. That's crazy.
I know. It's what have we been doing it for, like months-wise, back in April, May, I think.
Yeah,
it's been a good journey.
I think it's about when our first one started. John is not here today. His little rugrat is teething, and John's not sleeping, so he's trying to do what he can when he can. Those with children know all about that.
Yes, and welcome to the next 18 years, John, of your life, and probably 30, 40 years after that. So, because
mine just turned 17.
Let me move back in with you.
I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I miss the childhood days. That much is for certain.
I don't miss the young ages, because it's tough, man. It's tough being a parent. I'll tell you that.
It is, but it's very rewarding, isn't it?
Yes, it is. A lot of laughs.
What else is rewarding is talking about Armada stuff. So what do we got in the news today, Karen?
Oh man, so we got Worlds coming up, right? March 23rd. We have a last chance qualifier added for Thursday, and then the events will start. We don't have any details about how the event will be ran, or heats or rounds or anything, so just stand by for that. The Summa of all things.
Wait, hold on. We can't just
what do you want?
Just skim through. It's a big deal. It
is a big deal. We've been talking about it.
The community's been really hoping for a last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
A last hurrah for anyone who to get a final ticket, and we don't know again what the format's gonna be, but it's a big deal. We're gonna have we'll probably double the amount of people there for Armada just by having a last chance qualifier.
Oh, I'm sure. So that's Thursday, but then there's also another last chance at the Las Vegas Open.
Yeah.
So last chance to the last chance. So there's still a couple of chances left. But yeah, you're right. No, it's a big deal. We're all excited about it. Excited to see everybody there. That'll be Thursday.
It'll be Thursday's last chance and 3 days of Armada tournament.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything about the format yet, other than we've got some supposition that we're going to go from however many it is, probably over 100, to some cut, probably less than 100, and on Saturday, and then go to probably a final. I'm going to guess 8 or 16 for the final day, but this is 100% supposition, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they pretty much may have. The word going around is that there'll be the final on Sunday will be a cut, so it won't be an elimination game. I think I saw some discussion about that, so that's my hope, because cut Armada is not as interesting as Swiss, how the game is meant to be played. So yeah, but last chance qualifier, super exciting. People have to get there another day early if they want.
And if you're planning on going, start booking right now. Or 6 months ago, because those hotels.
Fortunately, I'm only an hour away, so I can drive every day. Just be a long day for me.
Yeah,
it could snow. Could be in trouble. Somebody want
to. Chicago, March. I mean, it could snow in July. If the winds hit right, I guess. So, how does that go here in Chicago? If you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. What was the other news, Garrett?
So moving on. Sorry. We got the Summa of all things kit finally started sprinkling out places. I have not had the chance to touch one. Ken is obviously hoarding one. And I guess we've seen it internationally too. We're not entirely sure if the distribution is complete. So definitely get in touch with your store and have them order it. They have to order it directly from Asmodee. So if they know how to do that, just request it. Overall, I've seen pretty positive reaction to it. Everyone's having a good time. Something different, very different gameplay, adds a whole different objective of play. Ken will be the expert here on it.
Well, I mean, it's funny to me because I've now played, John and I have 2 episodes recorded, one's released, and as of this recording, another one's coming out tomorrow. So probably it's already happened now by the time we get this episode out. But I also had an opportunity to go to our local store to play a bunch of games. I got to play against some new players, some veteran players. Everyone had a blast. And I think with 2 or 3 exceptions, there was about 20 people at the store, and probably about 50, 60 games played over the course of the full day. And almost all of them ended with the Suma eating somebody. So I think one of them actually came down to ships being destroyed. So that was kind of cool to see a slightly different result. But a lot of people trying a ton of different ways to work with this. I think the list building is fascinating, mostly on the squadron side. You're limited to 2 unique squadrons, not aces, unique squadrons. And then you have to have a minimum of 4, and you have to keep it at 67 points. So it's kind of crazy trying to fit in there. And then the restriction to only 1 medium ship and as many smalls and 1 flotilla. You're in the spot where trying to build to 200 points is tough.
Interesting. Well, that sounds fun.
The right squadron.
Oh,
You
with
chose
Han?
Han.
Yeah, well,
so
of course.
you chose the right one to bring to the event. So I appreciate that.
Well,
I mean, the Han aficionado.
You got a Suma here, right? It's a whole solo movie. You have to bring Han. And I think when I get to running an Imperial list one of these days, I'll probably have some decimators in there, just because no one likes decimators except for me.
I like decimators, but awesome.
I do want to say, like, big picture wise, Armada is ripe and is a perfect system for scenario play, and it's just it's just kind of Suma's scenario play kind of thing, and so there's just endless possibilities of what they could do to find. Suma was 5 minutes during the solo movie, right? Like, there's tons of scenario type play that they could start to get some momentum on, and I largely the community's thrilled to have something. We don't ask for much, so we're pretty happy.
That is a brand new box. I mean, honestly, I think if we got like a rapid reinforcements, a campaign kit, and an event OP pack like this every year, we'd be set. I mean, I'd love to see some new plastic, but we've got a handful of new ships we could potentially get, like from Andor. We'll talk about Andor later, but the Arrestor Cruiser is a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Yeah. So. Speaking of the new cardboard rep reinforcements, X-Wing got their hotshot and aces, so I hope that we can get an equivalent just to mix things up, different squadron cards for the squadrons we have, some ship titles.
That
maybe.
X-Wing pack, that X-Wing hotshots and aces 2, I think is what they called it. It kind of came out of nowhere. Looks to be a similar thing with what we got. So I hope it'd be what a heck of a shakeup to Worlds would that be if something came out ahead of time. I think people have been practicing their fleets for months now, and then to throw something new and fun would be, I think it'd be hysterical. So,
yeah, well, it's like Rapid Reinforcements 1, the Vader TIE Defender and Anakin are a staple to every fleet now.
Well, we said Rapid Reinforcements 1 when it dropped. It was called 1 for a reason, so maybe there'll be a 2 at some point.
It'd be kind of cool if there was. I got a question for you guys. With the X-Wing hotshot and aces, was that new cardboard for the ships also, or was it just cards?
I think it was new cardboard because I saw people posting pictures of the cardboard online.
That'd be a great way to get some new ships out. You get a pack like that. You get a handful of pieces of cardboard for some ships, kind of like what they did with the Chimera in updating Star Destroyers.
Yes.
One of my things is I think it would be cool if one of my Armada wish lists is that for a rule change would be like every ship has to have a title. Like just there's not a ship that's going to be made with a hyperdrive that's not going to have a name on it, you know. So just give it a name in list building, and so that'd be a fun way to get a bunch of different names in there. But it's not going to happen. But it's just something.
There's a card pack waiting for that, though, isn't there?
The title
Yeah.
pack, right? Or
Yeah, why not?
Like
A title pack with titles that are like 1 to 2 to 3 points.
I mean, I'll pay like $50 for like 10 card titles. Like, come on, like
I'm gonna say 10, but I'll agree. I'll pay money.
Yeah, I'll pay money for a card pack. Why not? You know, I mean, it's fun and
heck,
exciting and new. What
if
else
you
we
want
got?
to reprint rapid reinforcements, I'll buy that
Yeah.
multiple times.
Well, maybe what's going to happen is they're going to drop a rapid reinforcements too. And see, we've got this weird thing here. Not only do we start boarding troopers, but you know, John was talking about dropping a Providence, and then a couple days later, bam, rapid reinforcements came out. So maybe it's going to be a whole title kit, Ryan. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, we do it the last episode. We talked about Suma, right? We're like, where's
Yeah,
Suma? And then
Suma.
like Suma came out the next day.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the chances of LVO being a last chance qualifier too, and that
And then announced.
confirmed, publicized. Apparently, it had been out there for a while, but I hadn't heard it. So
Me
I
neither.
feel like we're just speaking things into existence. It's our superpower. So
Let's keep at it then. But I think maybe rapid reinforcements 2 becomes a box, kind of like Heroes and Aces for X-Wing, and then that's where the new cardboard comes from. But anyways, Garrett, what else we got in the news?
Yeah. Well, so we got all that. Big, huge boon for the community. We have a new tournament system. It's called the T4 tournament system.
Mhm.
I'm not an expert on it, but I want to say Valadian built it. Is that correct?
yeah, so the creator of TTS is Valadian and Ardahal, and Ardahal didn't create it, but they were the two primary drivers. It was a community effort, but it was there too. Shout out to them for building it. Apparently, I haven't used it yet, but it's very smooth. It's gotten rave reviews. It's literally kind of saved competitive Armada for the time being, and Valadian is building it out to support X-Wing and Legion as well. And so hopefully we hope to get become the platform for X-Wing too and Legion tournaments. So but yeah, it's good for the great for the basically community built tournament tournament software to use online. So it's shout out to them for taking their own time to do it.
Absolutely. It's a huge deal. So especially ever since TTO is gone. So that's going to get used pretty much in every tournament going forward here, physically and digitally, right? TTS.
Yeah, for sure.
And then next year we've got a new game announcement from AMG. We've got Star Wars Shatterpoint. I think it looks pretty cool. It'll be nice to add another game to the rotation. It's completely different gameplay wise from what we currently have. Looks like more of a squad based, kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocol, if you guys would agree. And it's a little bit different of a larger models than Legion's models, which might be easier to paint for somebody like me. But I think it was cool. I think they said they're going to demo it at Adepticon, and then I think it's scheduled for release in summer. So that'll be here faster than you know.
I'm looking forward to this. The models that they've shown so far, they're really pretty.
They look
They
good.
definitely look bigger. I'm going to kind of go with some of what I've already read with people posting. They look to be similar size to the Crisis Protocol miniatures. So my guess is they're going to be roughly that size. Again, this is without really knowing or getting anything official. I'm curious to see more rules as they release those over the coming months. I've got some ideas of how it could play, but without actually seeing, I mean, I could be completely off or might be right in there. But the fact that they were talking about terrain having an impact on the game and height and everything else, I mean, I think it's actually going to be kind of fun. And I know for me, the biggest barrier to playing more Legion is I need time to paint. And with Shatterpoint, painting 12 miniatures as opposed to 40,
It's a big difference.
Little easier for me to handle.
You say that it depends on the scale because it's I have plenty of like 6 millimeters, and you can paint a whole army very easily. It's 6 millimeter, and it's like nothing. It's great, but then you get 128 millimeter, and it takes you days. Or I'm a slow painter, but so yeah. But it's that without a doubt, you'll definitely be able to field a quicker army or squad. So, and they'll check it out at Adepticon when they demo it for sure.
Yeah, I know I'll be there. What about you guys? You guys going to be at Adepticon?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we plan. It'll be the Armada event of like years. So,
well, I know Ryan, you and John are in it, and Garrett, I'm assuming you're going to go to those last chance qualifiers and try and get in there.
Oh, I think we're trying to commentate the whole thing, right? A little bit of sports broadcasting.
We could always do that. That could be fun. We do not know who is currently doing any commenting or streaming on this as of right now, folks. But as Ryan mentioned, when we say things, it tends to happen. So, hey, just AMG if you're listening. But
yeah, we'd love to do it big, do it good. The last thing
Ryan on the illustrator, it'll be great.
What's that?
Ryan on the
You're not going to go to
Man, yes, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm just going to be content and try and focus on our goal of actually providing a really good service. If we're allowed to stream, I think we can really set us above, Legion and X-Wing, compete with Gold Squadron and Fifth Trooper, right? That's the goal. Healthy competition is good.
I want to compete with Fox Sports, but that's just me.
Yeah, compete with Gold Squadron. Let's crush them. Come on.
Okay. Fox Sports.
We like everyone at Gold Squadron, by the way.
They're great.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna emulate. We see what you're doing. The last thing we have here is
sports robot.
Not gonna do that.
That they have on football, and
we
got ideas. We got crazy ideas.
You realize now that you've said that, we have to do that if we get this, right?
Yes, that's a no for me. No
robot.
No robots. Okay, sorry. Last thing in the news here, we're going to dig into these lists. Supply, prize. So globally, all over the world, these organized play kits are really important for communities, and so if anybody's listening out there, we still love to get these kits for these tournaments. And so, if we're not getting kits, it's harder to motivate the community to come out because it does take money. And so really cool prize winning at the end of the day is always a good motivator. So we'd like to see new prize kits come out, in the vein of regionals and store champs and of course the big world champs. So, because when they do come, they come with awesome alt arts and people love those. So I know globally it's been a challenge ever since COVID and everything to get everything distributed, but we'd like to see more and newer stuff coming out soon. So what do you guys, any thoughts on that?
Han Solo alt art. That's what I'm here for.
Han Solo alt art with actually Han Solo in it.
Yeah.
I think the one just has a Millennium Falcon, right? It looks cool, but
I have never been a fan of alt art.
I think the artwork's cool.
You've never been a fan of alt art. I'm like, this guy, but he does not speak for us here. All right?
I just like the regular cards and I like the cardboard token. I'm a very boring person. The only stuff that I actively use that's not part of the game is your stuff, Garrett. So, which by the way is
I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the shiny stuff.
So is John. John loves alt arts. I think he has almost every single one too. He might be missing one.
This is like a compulsion. It seems like he has to collect them, and if he's missing like an official alt art, he seems like he has to track it down a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Yeah, we are desperate for Clone Wars alt arts. Give me.
All right,
that's all I have for news. Why don't you introduce the TTS championships, Ryan?
All right, so this was the TTS championships. For those of you who don't know, TTS helped a lot of us out. Has been around for a bit. It's helped a lot of us out especially during COVID, to keep playing. We've brought a ton of new players into the game. We have new player helpers on the Discord, and so we get new players every week, and we're building the community, building it up. And so we're pretty excited. And so we have a championship. It's the Battle of Endor for us. And so I think we had around 60 some players. It's international, every time zone. It's a great way to meet the community. I played a couple guys in Australia, one guy in France, a couple Canadian as well. So it's a great way just to kind of bridge I'm never going to go to Australia and play. I know that my kids, take all my money. So I'm never going to be able to do that, but I can play them online and play them in a championship. So we had 60 players. It was started off in the pods, and then the top two, it was 4 players in a pod, and then the top 2 in each pod moved on to the Gold League, which was the top league of 32. And then we had a Silver League for the bottom 32. But then the top 32 played Swiss. I think it was 4 rounds. And then after the 4 rounds of Swiss, they did a top 4 elimination. And so we're here to talk about our top 4 lists. And so I'll just kind of get into it. Coming in at number 4 was Felix. I just want to make sure because they're brothers. The guy who got first and fourth are brothers, and I get their names mixed up sometimes. So so I think this was Felix. I played him in the initial pod phase, and he crushed me with this list. It's Ramadi Rogues is what he calls it. So it's 2 Onager test beds, one with ordnance experts, veteran gunners, and then the Red Beam, and then Commander Beck, who I really don't know what Commander Beck does because I've never bothered to read all the text on her card. I think she gives you tokens. She just doesn't interest me that much in terms of, it's just a lot of text there. So ordnance experts, veteran gunners, Red Beam, and then Raquel, which I think Raquel is the superior Onager title. Now it's getting a lot of good use. And then just a regular Comsnet Kazani for 25 points. So a murderous ball of rogues of Bosk, Vader, Morna Key, Jonas, who's interesting to kind of see. And then 2 fire sprays. And then the objectives are most wanted, asteroid tactics, and infested fields. So before we get to the objectives, any highlights of the list? I think it's double Onager rogues, which is a top tier list right now. Very cool to see Bosk and Morna in there. Big anti-PDIC kind of ships.
So I was actually going to bring up Bosk and Morna. Commander Beck's kind of an interesting one. Well, that's fine. I mean, we're talking about it, right?
You can tell us what Commander Beck does because I don't really know.
So Commander Beck, it's kind of interesting. What you do is you basically get essentially a command token out of her, or the ability to spend a command as if you spent a token, but it costs you a raid to do it. And then you're stuck to doing it, I believe, twice per activation. So if you needed a confire, you want to do a reroll, you could, but then you're getting that confire, raid token out of it. So it's a good way to resolve a command in a pinch for 3 points. But I'm not sure. It's kind of one of those things where what would be the situation where you'd be able to do that and then still be okay with the fact that you have a raid token? Maybe late gameplay?
Maybe a squad. Maybe you can throw Jonas out there and you don't really care. You just want that accuracy. So you throw a squad token, get them out there. I don't know. It's I've seen people, I've seen Paul, who's a player around, use Beck very well on a victory. But yeah, I don't have a good explanation for how to use Beck.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about Beck, but the list is scary. It's not complicated. He puts on the board, he's gonna line them up, he got his rogues sent after you. And really, I mean, your goal is to destroy one Onager, not get eaten up by his rogues, and then fly away from the other Onager.
So in my game with him, I had a Superstar Destroyer and an Onager. Without any squad cover, and it was just like turn 1, eat all the rogues dice, and it was a rough game, and he tabled me 10-1. So it is scary. I think with the squad ball, it's not an invincible squad ball, but it's tough. It's going to neutralize. So if a squad ball is a key component of your list and you need it to generate points, that squad ball is going to stop it from doing so. So something to think about. I love to see Vader out there. We're talking about rapid reinforcements.
Yeah, I mean, this list is going to get you the squadrons, the bombers. I mean, it's just clean, and you can. There's no tricks up his sleeves. I mean, he's just what he's going to do. So I mean, that helps you a little bit, but yeah.
But if you see most wanted asteroid, a lot of hull, a lot of it's just deceptive. Like, you can't let Jonas is kind of thought of on our Discord as like an escort squadron, because you just can't let him sit there. You just can't let him keep giving free accuracies to the ship. So you have to take him out. And with 5 hull double brace, it's not the easiest thing to do. What do you guys think about the objectives? Most wanted asteroid tactics and superior positions? No, infested fields.
Infested fields.
I'm taking asteroid tactics. Yeah, I'm not giving another red dice out of both his auditors with most wanted, and then he's just gonna generate extra points off infested fields. So
yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree. With infested fields, that's the one where the exogarths pop up and then obstacles move, right?
Right. Yeah. The only downside is he gets to put all the obstacles down, so that's gonna suck.
He's going to put them all down in asteroid tactics also. But
Garrett, we've done this. We've done this before. They don't get to put all of them down in infested fields.
No, in asteroid tactics.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I'd go with asteroid tactics. I mean, he's not necessarily going to take advantage of getting the defense tokens back. But again, with Romedy and that Gazanti is a great way to put yourself in front of the onager to get those extra dice. And then same thing with exorgorths and asteroids and debris fields and everything else. So, and then with Raquel, I mean, you can kind of sit back at speed 0 and just turn yourself to give yourself a better advantage of not only getting a shot, but getting a shot that's going to clearly run yourself into a position to be taken obstructed shot and then get that extra die.
I think run as fast as you can over to it. To Raquel, like speed run to it.
Thing is if you've got a nav token sitting there and a nav dial kind of planned out in advance, figure you can do that up on turn 4. Of course, then again, if you're deploying at speed 3, I'd do it earlier, but that's me. Onagers can get away pretty quick. It only takes 1 or 2 turns to move them up to speed 3, and then they're past you. So you really get one opportunity to take them down, unless you can catch them like a turn before they're going to try and escape.
I think Raquel's just one of the coolest titles. Just the speed 0 shenanigans is really, really cool addition. So, and it's been doing really well lately. But I take most wanted. I'm just not that worried. Like, I'll take the one shot from one of the onagers, and then I'll be out of your arc. Throw 1 extra dice in there. Throw 2 with Ramadi. I'll just do it once, and then I'll be out of range with the other one. You're not going to be able to get me. So that would be my idea, I think.
Is that what you took in the when you played against him? So
I'm trying to remember if he gave me first or second. And it's Fearix, by the way, on Discord. Sorry, Fearix, for missing that for a second. But I think, honestly, I don't know. It was a blur. It was a long tournament. So
no worries.
I think if I did, I took Asteroid Tactics, I think.
So knowing that, now it's time for Most Wanted.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, I was first players, I think. So I took his Asteroid Tactics. Didn't work out for me.
Yeah, if at SSD, this would be a nightmare scenario. I'm so sorry.
It was rough. All right, let's get to the list here.
That is me here. Okay, so I think this is large packages on the Discord. He's got an Imperial 2 ship, and not just a 2 ship, an Imperial 2 and a Gladiator. And Oslo is commander. I gotta say, like this is brave to run this. Lot of risk. Obviously worked out for him pretty good though. But let's talk about his flagship here, his Imperial 2. He's got Oslo on it, Captain Brunson, flight controllers, expanded hangar bay. He's got EWS, leading shots, quad battery turrets, and then he's running the 7th Fleet Star Destroyers, which I don't see or use much at all. I think that's the one where before you take hull damage or off the front hull zone, you can choose and copy this card on another ship and reduce that total damage by 1. So I think it's a distance 1 to 4. Yeah, so you got to keep them pretty close. And then on the Gladiator, it's a pretty good build here, except it doesn't have Demolisher on it because it's got that 7th Fleet Star Destroyer. So he's got Mr. Tua to add ECMs on there, board experts, and external racks. So this is a really unique Gladiator 2-ship build here. And then he's pushing squadrons with that ISD2, right? He's got the TIE Defender Vader, Colonel Jendon, Merrick Steel, the classic Merrick Steel, Jendon Tap, and then Saber Squadron. He's got 3 TIE Interceptors and then Bosk. Yeah, this would be a hard list to fly. I wish I would have actually got to see some of this. Because there's just so many rooms for mistakes here. I'm just
this is
stressed out
not
thinking
your
about it.
this is not your beginner list. I think for sure.
No,
this is
absolutely
Mac. Mac, great player. Always finishes towards the top of tournaments. Got 3rd place here, and he likes to kind of break the game a little bit, and so he's doing it here with 2-ship.
Yeah,
bringing it back.
Really interesting. Like this is a really strange 2-ship. And then for objectives, he brought advanced gunnery, fighter ambush, and superior positions to complement what he's got going on there with his IST2. But wow. Yeah, if I approach this, I would probably pick his fighter ambush, honestly, if I had to pick one of the objectives. But yeah, this is really susceptible to if somebody was to come in and really mess with his squadron commands, it would neuter like his entire ship's upgrade card situation he's got there for what it's doing, its goal. But yeah, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts?
So I'll go here. I know a little bit about how Mac flies this, kind of watching him do it and knowing a little bit of his tendencies. Mac, more than any other player in Armada, likes to go speed 0. I think that's the second time I've said this on this podcast here. Loves to go speed 0, and Ozil is the perfect commander to go speed 0 with. You can get away with it as long as you don't have Onagers that are forcing you to move. You can just sit and you can just wait out your opponent. And this kind of fleet, which is a speed 0 fleet, is no different than German Sloan, no different than the Akbar Defiance, which was like 4+1 when you could have 4 transports, back in the day. This is a fleet that wants to fight, but only on its terms. And so he's saying, I'm going to wait you out to the exact perfect timing of engagement. And Oslo's going to help me do that. You're just outside my red range. Okay, I'll just stay speed 0 and wait another turn and let you come in. And when you do, I'm going to hit you with a massive activation and just kind of brutalize you. The only thing I don't really like about it is the flight controllers. I think flight controllers in this day and age is overkill. I just don't think you need it anymore for squad play. I don't think it really helps you win that much faster anymore. So I like to see maybe like a gunnery team or something else, or boarding troopers, so something else on the ISC2, but otherwise very difficult fleet to fly.
Now, I was initially looking at this, and the way you explain how Mac flies this actually makes this make more sense, because I'm sitting there thinking, why would you have quad battery turrets? Sure, you can with Ozil jump up speed and not worry too much about nav commands, but usually an ISD2, and especially when you're supporting squadrons, is going to be generally moving at speed 2, and QBTs tend to come into play more so at speed 1. So that makes a lot more sense in my head. Flight controllers, clearly he's digging for the extra accuracy opportunity because you get the extra blue out of it. And you do have a lot of rogues in this list because you've got you've got Vader and Bosk, and then Jendon and Merrick. That's essentially like flying a second shot with Merrick. So you can activate these things pretty quick, and the interceptors just come in with the counter and swarm to keep you from getting close to your ships, and then snipe them with Saber. This is a mean list.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. You could go up and win the squad war versus virtually anything. It's just, is that ship, are the ships going to put out enough firepower? And so he's got mini tanks too, like with Brunson and early warning system and 7th Fleet. You have to do 4 damage before he even takes a single shield down. So it can be, when flown right, and Mac flies things right, very tanky, very tough to deal with.
So
I would take.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you were wondering why not gunnery teams on here, and it's because he's got advanced gunnery as one of his objectives. Although I assume that if he had gunnery teams, that his red objective would change.
Yeah, it would definitely need to change. I think I'd probably take fighter ambush too. Nothing about how he would. You want to deploy your fighters a little bit further. Fine, let's go. Let's fly under my flak bubble. But I'm not gonna give you other points.
Right, and he doesn't have boosted comms, so that helps fighter ambush a little bit.
That was another thing that I noticed is that without boosted comms, you're limiting your range a little bit, not a lot. But I mean, that long range part of the ruler is significant.
Yeah, but I think Ryan's right. Like, his whole thing here is he's just waiting for you to make the move, and Springs is a little trap.
I think I'd actually take advanced gunnery, and my reasoning for that is when I'm looking at the other objectives. Fighter ambush, squadron performs an attack. And if I'm dealt at least 1 damage card, you gain a victory token. So you're probably going to get over the course of the game, let's say 4 to 6 of these. So you're already at somewhere between 60 and 90 points. Superior positions, I'm putting all my stuff down ahead of time. And any rear damage, from squadrons again, or ships. But, now I'm looking at probably another 60 to 90 points. With advanced gunnery, sure, fleet point cost of an objective ship is doubled, but I can put it on something that might only be 50, 60 points and minimize my losses. That's how I'm thinking about it. Because when I'm looking at a list like this, I'm either playing against someone who really knows what they're doing, at which point they're going to get as many victory tokens as they can off the other ones, or I'm just hoping someone makes a horrible mistake, or I can deploy in a way that I can get some utility out of advanced gunnery. You're the one choosing what your objective ship is, so you can kind of limit some of your damage. Although it'd be kind of cool to put it on like a rebel flotilla and get absolutely no utility out of it whatsoever. But then it only costs you 30 points when it goes.
Right. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think with under advanced gunnery, you're talking about a 300 point ISD. It's got a lot of firepower, but it's 300 points. It's not an SSD, so it could go down and it could really cost you. So if you have the ability, the problem is the squadrons and plus the advanced gunnery shots twice in a row is really tough. But if you have a way to jump in on his squadrons and you're first player, right, you should be able to, at least just tie down Vader and Bosk, right? And Merrick, I guess, if you can. Just sacrifice your fighters, and then go all in on the SSD. SSDs go or ISD, excuse me, go down 2 turns. They're relatively fragile. I know he's got the tank build, but you can be killed in the right circumstances, so just something. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I bet he'd put that advanced gunnery on the Gladiator.
I was just thinking that exact same thing because
I think it'd be better. two shots, four blacks in a row.
Yeah, and then
No,
the
there's
one
no way.
the one turn though that you can drop external racks though. I mean, you get a six black dice with ordnance experts, and then a 4 black dice with ordnance experts on the same shield facing. So statistically speaking, there's 10 points of damage directed, and it's designed around keeping yourself alive with electronic countermeasures. So you can block the brace. He's still going to be able to use it at least once. So it's, you might be right, Ryan, that it could be on the ISD, but if that's going to be your squadron pusher, Gladiator might make a little bit. That's what I would do if I was playing the list. But that's just because I'm greedy and I want to get those black dice in. But if you're dealing with something with PDICs, then maybe I would put it on the ISD. I don't know. You know Mac better than I do.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it's the ISD. It's just, I mean, it's similar to a Starhawk, you know, like the problems of a front arc Starhawk, especially with those QBTs. You're throwing 9 dice, so you know you brace 1, and then hopefully you have Lando because he's the best officer, and then you're fine, right? Like, or you know you use your brace once, you take 4 damage, 5 damage. It's just the squadrons backed up is what. So you have to put squadrons in front of your ship. You know, just take a little bit of that alpha. You can't let the squadrons do 6 damage to you. And if you have a way to prevent that, then I take advanced gunnery for sure.
So your hot take then is Lando should be on one of your ships and Han should definitely be one of your squadrons.
This is my take. This is the take to end all takes. Lando in an intel officer, you know, boarding trooper, you know, world is so good. He's just so valuable. Yes, we all have that game where Lando doesn't come through for us, right? Because you're gambling. But like, he's just, don't put him in the Falcon. That's not his Falcon anymore. That Han owns that. Okay. So stop stealing it. Just let Lando be an officer. That's where he thrives. Is amazing. That's where he should be in my mind. It's just, you know, if you have an intel officer Onager, right, shooting you, he goes 6 damage and accuracy's your brace, or intel officer's your brace, you can have Lando, right? Just Lando tosses it, makes it 2 damage, fine. We're all good. So I'm a big supporter of Lando in the meta right now.
People are so addicted to the unchangeable or the double red. They're addicted to it.
It's unbelievable to me. Like, no one. He's good, but you know, he'll die. So
Han shoots first.
Yep.
Should we move on to the next list?
It's probably the most interesting list, I think, in all of this.
All right, so this is a Dooku list. Let's see. Do we know who flew this one?
Xantos.
With an X.
With an X.
With an X. All right, so here we go. This is it's titled second. Came in second. It's titled "Joining the Dark Side." So we've Count Dooku. It's 388 points. So big bid, 12 points. But we know that's been the game the last few months. Munificent Star Frigate is the flagship with Count Dooku, Wat Tambor, thermal shields, point defense ion cannons, linked turbo laser towers, and the Sa Nalor title. What I like about this is that you've got a couple different ways to mitigate damage. You have your thermal shields right off the bat, so that takes half your damage depending on what you're rolling. Or if you're John, you take away my black dice. And then your PDICs, which are great to kind of mitigate that. And then just to keep yourself going with Wat Tambor, you throw in that engineering command and you're potentially getting yourself 10 repair points to spend. So you keep your ship alive quite a while. And then the ability with the title to essentially get and evade is great. Next ship is a Recusant class light destroyer with reserve hangar decks, external racks, linked turbo laser towers, and the Patriot Fist title. I don't think we see too many Recusants without the PF title on it. But you know, again, you can get in, fire your medium long range shot with Patriot Fist, and then if you get in a little bit closer, there's your extra 2 black dice, and then hopefully you can double arc them. We've got the reserve hangar deck on this and the next ship, which is a hard sell battle refit with TI-99 reserve hangar decks and linked turbo laser towers. We've got another hard sell transport with Teaks and slicer tools. And, that's an interesting combo right there, with Teaks being able to get you that token that you need to kick slicer tools off pretty much every turn if you wanted to.
The clever use.
Yeah, it really is. I kind of like that. When I first saw this list, that's exactly what came to mind. And then you have your vultures. So there's 4 vultures. And with the reserve hangar decks, you effectively have 6. So that gets you another 16 points. So you're roughly a 404-point build with a 12-point bid. So that's kind of cool. And then the objective suite here, Ion Storm, abandoned mining facility, and infested fields. I'm noticing infested fields is coming up a lot. But maybe that's just my limited view on what we're seeing with objective cards.
Yeah, I really need to figure out what Exogorths do at this point. If
they eat
people
things.
are going to keep bringing this thing, I gotta read the card.
They eat things and activate your squadrons. It's really annoying.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing with Exogorths, right? They come out if you don't move your squadrons during the ship phase proper. Then at the beginning of the squadron phase, Exogorth is going to shoot at everything. You're bound to do 1 damage to each one, which locks your squadron in place. And that's kind of mean and nasty. And then if you land on it, you're doing damage. And then it obstructs shots. And you can kind of strategically place exactly where you want them to be for the turn. So your opening shots for that next turn are you're probably going to be obstructed. It's a great way to kind of help protect your ships a little bit, unless you're dealing with Ramadi, because then you're giving them an extra die. I don't think this is the one you get to move. Is it Asteroid Tactics is the one? No, the Infested Field is the one to remove it.
Infested Fields you get to to move, which is a super. To me, that's the super powerful ability. You're putting rocks under ships, every time. I do want to just kind of back up here and say the slicer, this is 4 activations. The slicer tools is really cool to see. I think we don't see a lot of slicer cells. I don't know if I coined that but I'm coining it now. We don't see a lot of slicer cells. Yeah. I need some alt arts now. But yeah, we don't see a lot of slicer cells. I think they're really cool. It's a great use of a combat ship to make it get in there. You got 2 other really big threats, and you want to be shooting at Patriot Fist. You want to be shooting at the Muni, the flagship, if possible. But you got this slicer cell, just killing you because you can't use your commands properly. So it's really clever. And with Dooku, like, oh my gosh, really the fixture of the list. It's really cool to see Dooku doing so well. So maybe one of the top 3 Seppi commanders. I don't know.
Yeah, Dooku's interaction with these objectives is something people were sleeping on, but no more. Because I know Texas did good with this too. Fox Omega, I think.
Yeah, he likes Dooku.
This list is brutal. It's rare you're going to see somebody with more than 12 points, so he's going to get the objectives he wants.
So Xantos gave me a little bit of information. He had the bid every time. And so he took second as a result every single time. So we're going to have to pick one of his objectives here. So
yeah, this is an uncomfortable list to fight against. I think I'd rather fight against the Onagers than this, honestly. But man,
I think we can all agree no one is taking abandoned mining facility, right?
That would be suicide, utter suicide, right? I mean, Dooku's less like, yeah, bro, no engineering,
and he's got Wat Tambor now too. So
yeah, I'm also not taking Ion Storm. I mean, Infested Fields is your best bet here. At least you can run into some obstacles and grab a couple tokens.
Why not take Ion Storm?
Because he's going to block your engineering.
Well, he's going to block the engineering, right?
Yeah.
But you just have to stay with the distance 1 of the obstacles.
Let me read the card.
But doesn't he get to place all the obstacles?
Sure. But I
Ugh.
mean, you could speed 3 into it and then reduce down. And really, here's the thing: if he does hit you and you've got the crit, he can use it. If you've got an objective token, attacker gets a victory token, 15 points. Then you discard one of their command tokens. It's pretty nasty. But if you don't have any command tokens, you're going to lose a shield. But you're losing shields, you're not suffering damage. So it's a good way to knock out, a shield here and there. You are losing 15 points every time you can do that.
I'm
So
keeping it infested fields after reading it. Sorry. No, Iron Storm.
you would take infested fields?
Yeah, I'm still taking it.
So I like to fly rogues, and this is part of the reason I don't really know what Exegors do, is because I played it once, and since I fly rogues virtually every time, I just haven't decided to take an Exegorth obstacle against me. So I think I'd probably take Ion Storm. I think you don't have a way to generate crits other than throwing lots of red dice. So there's a chance he may not capitalize on the scoring. The engineering rate doesn't bother me as much, but without some way to turn your red dice into crits automatically, it doesn't bother me a ton, and I might regret that. But
so here's the thing: you've got Link turbo laser towers on pretty much all your ships. So theoretically, you could, let's say you roll your red dice, you've got 3 hits, and you're going to re-roll one of your reds. You're hunting for that crit. You might get 2 damage, you might get nothing. Statistically speaking, you're going to take 1 damage and go to 0. So you might luck out. By the same token, you have that 1 in 8 shot. I think it's 1 crit on the reds, or is it 2? I forget. In either case, is it 2? So yeah. 1 in 4. So you're hunting for the crit, with the other opportunity being you might miss completely, keep it the same, or not. But here's the thing: if you get the crit, you're really only doing 1 more damage, and it's only on the shield. So you'd actually be better potentially hunting for accuracies. Where you gain the advantage is the 15-point objective token. And if you can do that, let's say 4 times a turn, that's 60 points. That's a lot. But you've got to hit all of those, and it's not going to happen right away either.
I think there's just a chance that someone could do that objective, better than you can. And so, I think it depends a lot on deployment, trying to find where's that one obstacle I can get my ships near. Because, TRC 90s could be throwing crits, just doing an evade, get it. And then, you're running into that. So I think I would consider it until Santos plays me and kicks my butt with it. So.
I don't know, I feel like he's gonna have a really easy time putting those objectives in a place that's gonna force you to eat all the tokens, the objective tokens, and then he's gonna slowly creep over there, and then just farm red crits on you.
I think the key is you have to stay at range. You have to stay at range to be able to maybe get this one off, and you have to probably work your way close to those obstacles to be able to, try and not get this after you get rid of it. Because again, that's the other thing, is you've got Dooku that's going to be throwing probably 3 stacked engineering, but you'll know that when he's deployed. So, that'll give you a little bit of sense of what you may have to consider doing. The other negative here is with Ion Storm, when you get hit with that crit, there goes your engineering token.
Yeah. It's all negative.
Yeah, but look at the other ones though too. I mean, those aren't much better.
I can deal with some Exegors. It's this Ion Storm. It's just they control the obstacles. He's also going to make sure you get all the objective tokens. Then he's not going to let you get rid of them with Dooku. And then he's also going to get at least 4 or 5 red crits through the course of the game.
I wish Ion Storm didn't say you control all the obstacles.
Yeah, that's the crux. That's what makes it so good.
He could still be good enough, but controlling all the obstacles makes it so tough.
It does. I think the only advantage is that it has to be beyond distance 5. So, they're mostly in that center foot of the table, but
That's
they're
definitely
in the
close.
center foot within a 4-foot range. So there's still, 4 square feet of room to put your obstacles in. And even with placing all 5, or is it all 6 that are in this
5.
round?
They exclude the
5, yes,
station.
including station. So placing all 5, they've got to be at least distance 1 apart. So you're kind of hovering, and you could pile almost all of them onto, half of that space. So you are going to force your deployment in your hand. You can maneuver your way in such a way where you could probably avoid getting a token for 2 turns, or avoid getting the objective tokens for 2 turns. But you're going to be doing that in such a way where you're then either going to be taking obstacle damage, you're going to be ramming your own ships, or you are going to be forced into a particular order of activating your ships unless you want to ram yourself. That'd be my guess. I'd have to play this one out, but
It'd be easier with small ships, like your little MSU fleet.
I think this is very list dependent on what you would want to choose.
Yeah,
Definitely not abandon mine facility. Just stop.
No, I played that the other day with a similar CIS list, and I started running out of tokens for victory tokens. I was just throwing things down. It was insane.
You need a big bucket of them.
It was amazing.
I'm sure it was amazing. All right, should we get congratulations, Xantos got top 2. But our winner was the other brother, P Droop, which I think is Patrick. Sorry if I get this wrong. I think it's Patrick.
Yeah, it's Patrick.
Okay. So he was flying Radis, and he was doing Radis on a CR90A with Torn Far, engine techs, turbo laser reroute circuits, and Jaina's Light. He dropped the Star Cruiser, Intel Officer, Guttery Team, Nav Team, PDIC, Spinal Armament, LTT, and Moncaron, and GR75 with Hondo Slicer Tools, and then medium transports with ADAR, munitions, and boosted comms. And then a mean squad ball of Lando, Gold Squadron, Rogue Squadron, Dutch, Shara, and Ketsu. So kind of interesting to see the top 2 lists both had slicer tools. I guess it's just so list dependent on how it's working, but it's really cool to see kind of slicer tools back again. I think it's a really neat mechanic. There's something about effects that are, I guess you could kind of call them undeniability, where it's just like you can't block it, you can't do like boarding troopers, slicer tools. It's just like there's those effects are really, really powerful and useful and gives you certainty in this game. So very cool to see slicer tools. And then so he's just there's it's very clear what this list is doing. He's got a Radis bomb. He's dropping it on trying to get you to your flank, taking something out and going and running after 2 turns, and he's gone. So then he's got that engine tech CR90 to get the flagship out of there as well, get out of Onager arcs, get where he needs to go. So this is as Radis list goes, the very powerful. It's one of those things that you can see coming, you know what they're going to do, and it's difficult to stop still.
I think the slicer tools, because it was almost everywhere. Then 1.5 came out, and then it started exhausted. So you have to kind of charge it up. And you have to be committed to using it. In turn 1, you're plotting and engineering, or you're getting a command token somehow so you can refresh it and use it on turn 2 or 3. And then if you want to use it more than once, you need a way to feed those tokens, whether that's parts resupply or, a comms net, flotilla, or Hondo, Tarkin. I agree though. It's starting to see kind of a comeback, but it's neat in such a way where it's not necessarily expected. I mean, it probably will be in the next few weeks where, okay, we're going to start planning for slicer tools again. And by worlds, definitely people are going to be thinking about slicer tools. But I know I've used slicer tools once or twice, probably in the last 2 months locally. And everyone's looking at that going, what do slicer tools do again? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's not as powerful as it used to be, but it has a big impact though right now.
I couldn't agree more. It'd be cool to see how they. I mean, if you don't have any other, if you're a ship and you just have one ability to push squads and you get sliced, it's super tough to deal with. So, I think people should take a look. Maybe we're kind of moving towards people taking slicer tools. Everyone's got a opportunity to take one. I think, other than Republic, how do they take it? The Pelta? Is that how they would take it?
You could put it on a console if you want to spend a bunch of points, but yeah, Pelta.
Pelta. Yeah.
You'd likely put it on the Pelta.
It'd probably be easier on the console with one of the titles lets you bring
Yeah,
one
I
of
think
these.
the Radiant 7's the one that
Yeah.
gives you the fleet support command.
Yeah. Then you can zip around.
Yeah, and at speed 4, that's one heck of a way to sit there and position yourself. And the C70's got a decent maneuver chart. It's not as good as the CR90, but you could easily do that.
Yeah.
Pelta, it's just kind of slow, so I don't know that you would throw it on one.
Yeah, it's not its brightest point. Yeah,
Also,
I like
cool
this
to
list.
see Mon Cairn in this list. We don't see a ton of Mon Cairn anymore after it kind of got nerfed too. But it got a little bit cheaper, but you have to pay a token for it now.
Well,
But
yeah, he spends the same token for Gunner teams and on Karen, so yeah, 2 for 1.
that's a very clever use of it for sure.
Yeah. And you
That's
get
like
the
nav
extra guy
team.
with
I don't see
final.
that a lot, but it's always really cool when someone's like, I'm just gonna change my yaw with this token. It's like,
I'll say this:
convenient.
I flew Aratus Star Cruiser at Adepticon, and I found myself needing an extra click a lot just to kind of get the front arc of the cruiser where I needed to go, and I didn't have it. But I had engine techs on it. Yeah, I didn't have nav team, and I think getting that double click on the first join that you can get, and then get the one click on the third joint is really helpful to get you kind of where pointed in the right direction, because this thing is just looking to point its front arc in the right spot, and it's got a lot of I bet the nav team made a difference more often than not.
Yeah,
I think go ahead, Garrett.
I was gonna start getting those nav tokens and confire tokens. Well, I guess he got munitions resupply. Okay. All right. So he does nav on the Star Cruiser and then munitions resupply to get the confire tokens. Okay. I'm sorry. Continue, Ken.
No, what I was going to say is, you look at how people fly their ships, and when you leverage your nav dials, and there's a lot of people, John and I have this debate all the time, where he'll use his nav dials to increase or decrease his speed. And I love using nav dials to get me that extra click where I want it. And what's kind of neat about nav team is it basically gives you that ability to, okay, you're not changing speed. You're gonna be able to add your extra yaw on one of your joints, but it also costs half the cost of engine techs, because engine techs is 8, nav team is 4, and that gives you that extra flexibility that you can use. Yeah, you need to use a token, but if you were in a certain world to put nav teams in with Ozzel as a prime example, talk about some serious maneuverability in your ships. And you're getting all kinds of, you can make an Architons fly like a CR90. Maybe not quite, but pretty close. So that's kind of an interesting thing, though. I did notice that. I thought that was kind of cool. A little bit of survivability with the PDICs. And then, unfortunately, he's running the wrong squadron. I mean, with Lando instead of Han,
He would critical mistake. He would help the survivability of the Star Cruiser if he took Lando. But seriously though, he took Intel Officer with Mon Cairn. So it's like, all right, you're gonna get one token. We all know you're gonna use that brace, and you're never gonna use it again. And that is just a nasty combo to be using. So it's a lot of firepower, a lot of firepower, kind of very much a glass cannon. Not a huge squad ball. It's probably worth mentioning. You know, about 104 points, but 8 Talon really lets you, you know, kind of make it a 120-point squad ball. You know, in a sense, you know, you get to activate Dutch twice or Lando twice, however you situationally need, or Ketsu twice. So good squad ball to see. His like his brother are the same objectives: Most Wanted, Asteroid Tactics, and Infested Fields. So
Such a trend here.
I think I'm sitting here with Most Wanted again for the exact same reasons that I chose him the first time through, just to mitigate the potential point loss.
I would take Asteroid Tactics here. I think the problem with my issue with Most Wanted here is that this is a list of, I'm going to pick one thing and pick it off.
He's going to get it.
And you're just not going to be able to hide it from me. So with Most Wanted, it's just coming for you. And so I think Asteroid Tactics, you know, I don't really see a way for him to kind of abuse it too much other than using Lando, which is fine. Like, Lando will be dead by turn 3 because you chose the wrong Millennium Falcon, and that's fine. So I think that's fine. I would choose Asteroid Tactics. It doesn't scare me as much.
I'm also going to Asteroid Tactics because he's just going to use his rogues while you're waiting for a ship to collect some tokens. And his GR75 is cruising behind there. So yeah, Asteroid Tactics.
Well, congratulations to Patrick for winning the Battle of Endor. Very, very exciting. So
another Rebel victory.
You know, came out on top for 60 players. So good job.
That's
but
a
Radis
lot,
this time,
60 players.
You know? But you know, we had 4 admirals. You know, Radis, Dooku, Ozzel, and Ramadi. You know, those are kind of new, exciting kind of fleets to see. So I do want to go back to Xantos's fleet real quick because it's bothering me that I haven't said this. He's running the light Patriot's Fist. You know, it's just kind of, we see like a heavier version of Patriot's Fist, but he's running the lighter version with just LTTs, Patriot Fists, and like 1 or 2 more upgrades. And I think that's a really effective use of the points. Not because Patriot's Fist will die. You don't want to sink too many points into it.
Yeah.
But it still maintains a lot of firepower. So I just want to recognize that point. There's kind of 2 ways to build it. That's one of them, and it was clearly effective for him.
I think actually it's great. It's 105 points. You have reserve hangar deck, which, I mean, that's basically getting you 8 points if you can use it to get one of your vultures back. External racks is worth it for that one-off close range shot, you know, and you're gonna be leveraging Link Turbo Laser Towers for, you know, people like me that are going to choose Ion Storm. And then, you know, Patriot Fist. I mean, you're losing a shot, but you're getting those extra dice. And, you know, again, 2 blues at range, you've got the opportunity to block some defense tokens there, or fish for those crits, and you get that crit, and you know you're just ahead again with Ion Storm. How long did Endor take from beginning to end?
You know, it was probably too long. It was probably about 2 months, really. So it was, you know, 60 players, all international. Everyone was pretty much good sport. Like it was a good moment for our community. It was kind of the first time we did this with this kind of this format. But it was very long. So and especially now going to live play a lot more. You know, we're not necessarily in the pandemic anymore, and there's no options. So you know, there's just a lot of tournaments out there, but good. Congratulations to Patrick. Quite an accomplishment for sure. But we should probably move on now.
We should. So we're going to put a little mini spoiler alert here. If you have not, because I want to talk a little bit about Andor.
Have we all finished it? First
Oh, that's a good question. I have.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, good point. So if you have not finished the Andor, just like skip or pause actually the podcast right now, go watch Andor, and then come back to where you've left off. All right, so you've got your warning.
I might try to get fancy and put one of those markers in there, you know,
We're about 70 minutes in for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. There you go.
All
So-
right. Arrestor Cruiser was cool.
Super cool.
That was, I think, the best 10 minutes of Star Wars that I've seen for a space battle, with the floating debris throwing right into the sensor dish. I would love to see like an upgrade card or some kind of squadron that can do that, because that is in Armada. That would be cool. I think my concern with an Arrestor Cruiser and Armada would be, would it be like a souped up Constantine type of a
I'm thinking a small ship with just like some sort of like dual, I guess maybe grab well. I don't know, because it seems like it's like an earlier version of what an
Not
interventor can
it's
do.
a tractor beam, right? It's not.
Yeah,
a
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think you do something cool with the effect. You make a cool title. Hello
Ship
title.
titles.
You do cool stuff with the title, and you say, it only works on small ships or only works on flotillas and squadrons, let's say.
Oh yeah, having a tractor beam that can move squadrons around and like pull them out, friendly or enemy.
that could be neat.
There's cool stuff you could do with it, but we got a new like Imperial ship. How cool is that? Like,
Well, it was in some of the deleted scenes in Solo, and it actually made it in the Solo movie if you look very carefully at like
Deleted scenes.
overheads. No, in the actual movie.
Yeah.
Like when Han's like looking around trying to figure out how he's going to get out of his mess, and they've got the Imperial theme playing, and like the Star Cruisers are going over. You see the giant ISDs, and I think there was an Arrestor Cruiser in there. I could be wrong.
It's also fully in a deleted scene too.
Yeah, it is.
But
it's cool to see it.
I'd like to see Luthen's ship as a rogue for the rebels.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a super.
that might be too
instant
powerful.
elite.
That ship. That might be like a 35-point squadron or something. I don't know what you could do with it. It'd have like double strategic or something. I don't know. Like,
it'll be a new type of. It'll be some kind of weird special ability, like Anakin's, where you can hit like 2 different squadrons or something like that, or split your dice to attack 2 squadrons, kind of a thing.
that'd be cool.
Or perform 2 attacks on 2 different squadrons, but you need to spend a defense token, something crazy like that.
A lightsaber sword.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was that?
Super concentrated beams. And then the TIE bomber boarding fighter.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing another boarding trooper-esque thing. I guess they would do raid or whatever in Armada, but I'd like to see something different than raid.
Well, I mean, that'd basically be
the TIE bomber that flies out. It's not a TIE bomber. It's a TIE boarding fighter. So like the other portion that usually carries bombs carries like a boarding team.
It's not a TIE bomber.
Not a TIE bomber. Yeah,
They
I know.
used it in
It blew my
Rebels.
mind too. Yeah,
it was in there, and it's been in Star Wars lore if you really dig. But I mean, only crazy people like me really dig into nutty Star Wars lore. If I told you I knew what an HT 2200 was, I doubt too many people listening know what that is. But anyways, I digress. The whole series I thought was kind of neat to show a completely different side of Star Wars. It was very dark. There were no Jedis. And it was very much about the Empire's oppression and how it got a little slow at times for me. But I think watching it now thinking about those episodes in hindsight at the end, that was kind of cool. And I liked how everyone kind of threw up arms at the very end of the final episode. And you just got to see the Empire kind of getting beaten down, albeit at a small level, with many revolts and rebellions.
I thought it was amazing. I agree. Very slow to start. Very, very slow. But they had a plan. They clearly know, what they're doing. It was nice to see the side of it's just like, we'll refer to the Empire and the Emperor in the background, but we're not going to show them to you. You're just we're taking orders, and we're going to see the actual like day to day of the people all in the foot soldiers of the Empire kind of thing. So I really like the ISB stuff. That was really cool to see. We saw Yularen for a bit, a little cameo. So
Overall, wonderful. It got to the point where I was like, I have to watch it. I have to. I didn't even when we talked about it in the last episode, I hadn't started watching it yet, but threw in the first episode, didn't do it for me. Waited a week and then watched all of them in 10 days. So
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, where's my Saw Gerrera expansion pack? I want my Well, I want it for Armada. I want officer cards. I want the black and X-Wing and the black headhunter or whatever it is.
Well, that's easy. Some paint. That's all you need.
No, I want it in a pack. I'll give money for it. Give money. AMG, I have money.
I think the standout for me, there's actually two things that kind of stood out for me in the Andor series in total. If we're just talking Andor, right? Mon Mothma, I absolutely love what they did with her character and how she had to interact.
Yep.
And how she's blaming her husband's non-existent gambling issues as to why money is disappearing, which is brilliant.
Cold.
But you saw the same stuff with what the Empire was doing too. So it was, I loved that political intrigue that you miss from a lot of Star Wars. And then the other thing that got me was at the very end, that post-credit sequence. I'm hoping everyone has seen that. That's on here. Yeah. And you realize, okay, they're building the Death Star. And they're building these little components to kind of fit in the Death Star. And my thought kind of immediately went to, they're rushing to build these things, out of the one planet. That was what, Narvala 4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you have this the whole facility goes dark because everyone runs and leaves. So you've got to have some level of setback. Not only did you kill a whole floor worth of people, you now have all 10 floors or 7 floors or however many there was that have just disappeared. And you're setting back. It gets more into the story of why that first Death Star took so long to build.
Yeah. If anybody's not read it, I highly recommend the novel Catalyst. It's like the prequel to Rogue One, but it covers that, director, Krennic, Galen Erso, huge
I
span
can't
of time.
recommend that novel.
You can't? Oh, I liked it.
That's tough. That's a tough read.
It's a hard one. But what gets me is the same author did the Tarkin book.
Yeah. Lucino.
That was a page turner. I couldn't put it down.
I agree there.
But I'll give Catalyst another read just for you, Barry.
I mean, if you're into Star Wars and you're into
you
details,
gotta read it. You gotta slog through it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just it's not a page turner.
No.
Well, it's no Thrawn trilogy. Okay, I'm not putting it up
what they were
there.
going for, and that's not, it's just it didn't do it for me, and that's fine. I'm just one person.
It was just a lot of background details, I would say.
Did for Garrett though, Garrett. You got a signed copy, Garrett? Is that what you got?
I do not, but I wouldn't turn it down.
He'd be picking it up and just open the book, say, look right here, it says to Garrett. Yeah. So there we go. We know what to get Garrett for Christmas, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Signed copy of
Catalyst.
I want to change it. I want to change the book.
So Andor, I think 4 out of 4 command stacks, I think.
Yeah.
It's quite the rating. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think we could say it definitely gets 3 dials out of the 4. I'm going to assume John's going to give it
only 3 dials out of the 4.
Well, John's not here, so we can't ask him. But I know he's playing it, so
he's got to approve.
Clearly we're on a medium-based ship today instead of a large ship instead of a huge one. So we only get 3 command dials instead of 4. But I'm guessing John would agree with us, and you get 4 command dials in the command stack for Andor.
All right, that's high praise.
It is good though. It is actually.
It was really good. You should. I was skeptical, very skeptical, but I was very pleasantly surprised. Yeah. All right. I think our last kind of segment, we just kind of roll through this real quick. We just wanted to talk about kind of what else are we playing? So we have a new segment called What Else Are We Playing? Who wants to go first?
You first, Ryan. You first.
Okay. So I continue to play a game in here and there of Axis and Allies online. If you like it, I highly suggest it. I haven't been able to play very much lately, but it's just automates a lot of the slog of playing online. It's very cool. And then over Thanksgiving, I played Everdell with my niece and taught her that. And it's a cool worker placement board game. And it's just very kind of pretty difficult kind of to game to get going. But once you can figure it out, there's a lot of stuff you can see and do. So if you're into kind of worker placement, it's kind of like a cross between Dominion and Splendor and Kingdom Builder, if you've played any of those. So
Yes,
highly recommend.
I'm looking for like some of my. They're not back here. My really good worker placement games, but they're clearly another part of the house. But that's kind of cool. I've been curious about Everdell, so I may have to give that one a try.
It's worth it. Takes, I think it takes a game to kind of see it. And then once you see it, you're like, all right, I want to play another one and I'm going to play differently. And it's a lot of high replay value. So, and you can play it, once you learn it, you can play it in about an hour, I think. So
Very
Nice.
cool. So I know for me, I mean, ignoring Armada, because I've probably got about 10 Suma games under me now. And I've only lost 3 times out of those 10. I've won the other 7.
Nice.
But never on film, because why would I win? That's not a
That
lot.
would ruin the aura. Right?
Exactly. So the 2 games that I've oddly enough played the most, and again, I think this is because the pandemic's starting to, it's pretty much over in terms of people being able to get together and whatnot. But I've been playing a lot of Twilight Imperium lately, and Star Trek Ascendancy.
cool.
So I've been playing the bigger 4X games with different people. So it's been kind of nice to be able to get those back out on the table, because they've been sitting here collecting dust for 2-3 years. So I'm hoping to put another game or 2 together. So, if none of us make it to the final day at Adepticon, maybe all of us can just sit down and before everyone goes home, get one of these big games in.
Yeah, we'll have a picture-in-picture of the final table, but also our Twilight game.
Whichever one's more popular. So I haven't been playing too many, but the one game that me and a good friend have been trying to get better at is War of the Ring. And so that's like a big Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like, I guess, Star Wars Rebellion a little bit.
Or
what do you say?
Is that a board game? Because I have the Lord of the Rings miniatures.
This one here?
War of the Ring, except I've got like the newer edition or whatever.
Check out the age on that Fantasy Flight logo.
Yeah, that's the situation there. But yeah, so it's just a really big asymmetric board game where, if you're the evil Mordor or whatever, it's all about the numbers and capturing, the locations. But then as the free folk, you can cleverly try and get the ring to Mordor, and then basically your entire time is just trying to hold, just like in the movies, right? Just trying to survive with like limited things. And like, there's no more, like once you run out of people you recruit as the free folk, like you get no more, but like Mordor can just keep throwing more and more and more. And so that's pretty cool. And there's different expansions for it, but yeah, War of the Ring, highly recommend. And then watch lots of YouTube videos how to play it. I think we figure something out wrong each time.
That's definitely something I'll check out. I love Lord of the Rings. So.
Yeah. We should play it. We should do it.
It's a good one. It's a bigger board, and it takes a little bit of getting used to the rule set, just because it is different. There's a dice mechanic in it that allows you to kind of choose what your actions are going to be.
Yeah, lots of dice, different types of dice for different each character.
And what's kind of cool though is you've got the whole book is there, because you start with Gandalf the Grey. He ultimately can become Gandalf the White. Boromir could actually be the one that helps save the entire fellowship. And then Frodo and the Ring move kind of secretly, and there's a neat mechanic on how that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool. And if you do have, I think I have the first edition of the game. And I know Ents are in mine. I don't know if they're in the newer editions, but
yeah, they are. What was I going to say? I guess I lost my train of thought. Never mind. Never mind.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right. Well, I think it's a pretty successful segment of what else are we playing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with
Da-da-da-da.
that.
World-renowned segment of our podcast. So
Well, that'll become the new thing, right? So,
Yeah. it's
Cool.
it's good to play other stuff. You get burned out otherwise. So it's good to play other stuff.
No, it's
Yeah.
interesting to also hear what everyone's diverse set of games that we play are. So we'll have to ask John what he's been playing lately. It's probably change the baby diaper.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
work and kids.
Yeah. And so I mean, it is what it is. He's got a tough job in healthcare. So John, we feel for you. We know you need your sleep. So hopefully you'll be with us next time.
Yeah.
But unless we have any closing thoughts.
I think so.
No.
It's been fun, everybody.
All right. Well, then, guys, we're going to end it here. So until next time, I'm Ken.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm Ryan.
And you've been listening to Command Stack. Thank you for listening to Command Stack. Today's episode, number 10, was recorded on November 28th, 2022. Our music theme, Pathfinder, is composed by Scott Buckley and used under a Creative Commons license. Additional credits and information can be found in the description below. Want to see the video version of this podcast? Find us on the Ion Radio YouTube channel. John is learning to use the Force to lift small rocks. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can also chat with our hosts on the Ion Radio Discord under Command Stack. This podcast, Command Stack, and Ion Radio are not affiliated with Atomic Mass Games. The Command Stack podcast is part of the Ion Radio Network. Thank you for your support. Tune in to our next episode as we continue to bring you more Armada news here on Command Stack. All right, that'll save me some time later.
Dun, dun, dun,
Thanks.
dun.
I want you to do that the whole time next time.
Where I just keep going on like that.
Yeah.